listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW-LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC-LP Conroe, and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Hello, I am Margie Taylor, your host for Conroe Culture News, FM 104.5, 106.1, live streaming irlonestar.com. Of course, you can follow us on Facebook Live, Conroe Culture News, or YouTube to hear it later, share it, whatever, because this is going to be a dynamic show today. Have you ever wanted to have a book written for your business, for your nonprofit, maybe your personal story of what's going on? Today, we're going to talk to a ghostwriter and the subject, and the person who's the subject of the book. We're going to talk about getting your story published from A to Z and how you can make it happen. And so we're going to speak with Melanie Saxton. She is an editor, a ghostwriter, a screenwriter, a journalist, and all that and much more. And she's going to talk about some of the books that she's written and the book she's working with now with Dr. Jason Allen. He is a chiropractic. He's going to talk about his practice and his journey to have a book written and what that partnership looks like. So all that. The show today is sponsored by Roger Stein Chiropractic and the Lake Conroe Realty Group. Roger Stein Chiropractors have been working for many years in 3 different locations, and they are located at 3033 West Davis by Conroe High School and Taco Bell. They treat everyone from infants to seniors, weekend athletes to professionals, focus on natural, holistic pain healing to achieve optimal health. Dr. Stacy Rogers holds certifications in extremities, arms, legs, hands, feet, clinical nutrition, prenatal, and pediatric care. If you are not a patient yet, it's under $30 to go see her for your first visit, and all of it goes back to CASA, Children in CPS Custody. So give her a try. Dr. Stacy Rogers, Roger Stein Chiropractic, 3033 West Davis in Conroe. The Lake Conroe Group serves the greater Montgomery County as the best source for buying, selling a home, or investing in real estate. If you don't know Team Sinisi, get to know them because it's an easy name to remember. So a few things going on around us. Coming up this Wednesday is the Isaac Conroe Founders Day, and that is an annual event, and this is actually the 3rd annual one, I believe, starting at 5:30 at the original homestead, 202 Avenue A in downtown Conroe. The transportation department now has their offices there, but the event will be spectacular, and I know it's at 5:30, and I know it's August 2nd, and I know it's going to be hot. But just go by there after work and see what it's all about. Hear from some of the descendants of Isaac Conroe, and that is where Conroe gets its name, from Isaac Conroe. He was a postmaster. He started the town, and this is the original house that his homestead was built on, and he had kids and was married and all of that. So something else that's going on, Family Promise of Montgomery County is hosting their annual Reach for Your Star this Thursday, August 3rd, at the new Hyatt Regency in Conroe, 1001 Grand Central Parkway. So together we can break the cycle of homelessness. You can get your tickets and find out more about it by going on their Facebook page, or you can Google them and go to their website, and they have a silent auction you can bid on and not even go and still help conquer family homelessness in Montgomery County. The first Friday Sip and Shop in downtown Conroe is Friday, August 4th, starting at 5 p.m., all along the venues on Main Street. Live music, stores open late, vendors, food, merchant special buys, and the opportunity to win prizes. All you have to do is go in and visit with them. And they give you a card. It's a deck of cards. You get one, and the best hand wins all these gift certificates. So go by. It's absolutely free. Downtown Conroe. That's this Friday starting at 5 p.m. So far, so many things happening this week. And Pioneer Adventure Saturday is at the Heritage Museum of Montgomery County with District Ranger Rosner will be at the museum with Smokey Bear to talk about the Sam Houston National Forest. And did you know that they are celebrating 50 years in the community? 50 years. They're on 163,000 acres. It's a free program, and it's suitable for kids 5 and older with their families, no drop-offs. You can RSVP for the hour-long program at 936-539-6873. And of course, this is when the sign-ups are for fall activities for both youth and adults with the city of Conroe. Teams are underway for youth soccer, flag football, volleyball, dance, and gymnastics. Adults can get social while staying fit with 4x4 men's basketball, 4x4 co-ed volleyball, and seniors over 60 are invited to dance at a variety of music genres every Saturday night at the Conroe Senior Center at Candy Cane Lane. So, also, did you know that Friday, August 11th through Sunday, August 13th is tax-free weekend? Yes, kids go back to school in a week. August 8th in Conroe, the week after that for Willis ISD. It's that time. So get ready. With that, we're going to take a quick break and be back with my first guest, Melanie Saxton.
Chiropractic has offered spine and joint manipulation services to residents of Montgomery County and surrounding areas. Conditions treated include lower back pain, migraines, headaches, whiplash, carpal tunnel, neck pain, sciatica, joint pain, sports injuries, herniated discs, and complications from pregnancy. Roger Stein Chiropractic, led by Dr. Stacy Rogers and Dr. Brian McGee, is an integrity-verified chiropractic clinic. Call 936-441-9990 for an appointment or visit rogerssteinchiropractic.com. That's RODGERSSTEIN chiropractic.com.
Team Sinisi is a proud sponsor of Conroe Culture News. Vinny Sinisi and his professional team provide comprehensive real estate services throughout the greater Montgomery County area and beyond. Whether looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, Team Sinisi has an impeccable reputation. Contact Team Sinisi for a great experience at teamsinisi.com. That's TEAMSINISI.com.
We are starting off the morning or the afternoon with Melanie Saxton. Melanie is a friend of mine. We met through Rotary in Conroe, but she is so much. I mean, she's a book editor, a ghostwriter. She's been a screenwriter, a journalist. She writes articles for magazines and whatever else falls in. Copywriting, right? All of that. So, wow. How did you get started, Melanie?
Oh, gosh, I was the little girl who didn't really play with dolls. I played with refrigerator magnets. I sat there. Yeah, I remember being, 3, 4 years old, and it was just fascinating. And now I do the same thing behind a keyboard, And so I think it was just meant to be. I've always been interested in reading and writing. I can thank my mother for that, the reading part. I just remember reading and on her lap and then on my own. And so I've just always loved it and even took the advanced English courses, like with 3 other people that just true nerds, geeks, just people who just absolutely loved it. And Whereas a lot of my classmates would not touch that with a 10-foot pole. No way. But that was what I wanted to do. And so, became an English major.
Where did you go to school?
Well, I went to community college at Blinn College in Brenham.
Oh, yeah,
and
good
kind
college.
of finished up in 1986, and I was in my mid-20s at the time. I was always an older student because I always worked full time, and so I just and actually finished up my bachelor's degree in my 50s. Took me that long, 29
Good for
years.
you. Where did you grow up?
Well, it was so funny. I was born in Maryland. My sister was born in D.C. My brother's born in Colorado. We lived in Montana. My dad was in the Air Force.
But y'all lived together, right?
Yeah, and we all ended up in Houston.
Uh-huh.
So from the age of 12 onward, I've been in this area, and went to Blinn College, got the associate's degree. I think I was 26. 29 years of pursuing a bachelor's, and I got that in. When was it?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I got actually, I just ordered my class rings after all this time.
How fun.
For University of Houston and Blinn. And then in my late 50s, I decided to pursue a master's degree in digital media, and that is because so many of my author clients needed help with their online presence. And, it's one thing to have a book signing. It's another thing to, how do I get on radio and how do I set up all my social media? And what about podcasting? And I help them with that, just experience through the years. I can help them, set that up. And also, search engine optimization on their website, their web copy. If it has to do with words, I'm involved, basically. Getting back to how I got started, I had absolutely no contacts. I had no family, nothing, no one involved in the world of words. So I had to figure out how to interject myself into this world of words. And I did it by, volunteering. I'd write the church newsletter. I would write obituaries, anything that I could do to write. And then eventually somebody would say, can I hire you to do a newsletter? And then it just kind of built from there. Mm-hmm. So it's just how it works. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to write for magazines, so you send in an article on spec after examining what that magazine's all about. What is the masthead? What is the tone and feel? And then got myself hired with a magazine.
That's exciting.
Yeah. And then speaking with different people, and they're like, I'm working on a book. Well, I can help you with that. I'm an English major and a wordsmith, and so that's how that got started. As far as ghostwriting, it really is an anonymous type of writing. I'm under confidentiality contracts and agreements. The book is in the author's name, not mine. I might be mentioned as an editor, but these are very big, robust autobiographies. I work with athletes. I work with like the corporate titan type people, people with an unusual journey, and they hire me to write for them. They have wonderful stories. They are just not sure how to tell them, or they don't have time, or they have a disability or something where they literally need someone to help them write. So that's the ghostwriting thing. And
is it fun?
Yeah, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. And it can take up to a year to do a ghostwrite because a lot of people...
The year's not that long.
It's really not. It's not in the world of words. It's really not. It can take up to a year to write an autobiography. And sometimes that means going back before they were born. Like autobiography is from birth to present day. But some people want to go back and explore the countries they came from and their people. And, there's publicly accessible information that I can find for them. I can go on the ancestry sites, the genealogy sites, and help them. And sometimes there's some surprises. They find a half-sibling that they didn't know existed. Some really surprising things can happen when you're putting together an autobiography.
So you learn a lot along the way.
Oh yeah, and so do the clients. And the difference between an autobiography and a memoir is more of a slice of time. It's not the whole A to Z. So a lot of people want to write a memoir about some exciting adventure in their life, or an invention, or a discovery, or an epiphany moment, or something. Maybe their time in military service, maybe their time in, spent traveling overseas. So those are great books too. And this book
Show me what you've got.
Yeah. I brought along an example. Joan Sullivan Garrett, this is her book, One Life Lost, Millions Gained. She went from a flight nurse to the CEO of MedAir. If you're ever up in an airplane and somebody has a heart attack or an issue, they pull out a bag that she invented. They call ground to hospital or ground to doctor through the system she invented in the 1980s. This is an amazing autobiography.
She saw a need and made it happen.
She did. She's amazing, and I absolutely love her, and I was able to spend time with her in Arizona as we put this book together.
So do you do in-person phone calls? How do people, first of all, how do they connect with you if they want to have a book?
I have optimized my website to the point where it just ranks, and I have clients calling me from Switzerland. I have had 2 clients in Switzerland, some European clients, Canada, Australia. People just find me. And your next guest who's up, that's how he found me.
Really?
he
Wow, and
just
he's local.
Yeah, yeah.
Relatively.
It's amazing the vast spread of different types of authors who find me, and it's very, gratifying. I'm so humbled, and I feel so privileged to work with these wonderful clients.
So, show me some of the others that you have.
Well, cozy murder mysteries is a genre, and it's so much fun, and people just love them. So this is one book that I worked on as an editor. Now, the books that I've ghostwritten, again, confidentiality, I can't mention them, although a lot of times they will mention me as their editor rather than as their ghostwriter. So this was a book editing project, so much fun. This was very moving. This was Nadine Sand's second book. And this was her journey through a very long goodbye to her husband, Michael, because he had Lou Gehrig's disease. So that's just another example of I never know who's going to contact me for what, but it's so sweet. And usually they send me their book after it's published with something very sweet in there about our journey through the book editing process.
Well, it's intimate. It's an intimate process.
It really is. It really is. This is more recent. This is the second book in a series too, and it's The Pepperford Cup. It's a novel based on a country club that really reminds me of my country club where I live in April Sound. It's so funny, but it's based in the 1930s. And all of these interesting stories. And then here's one totally different. It's the Harmony of the Nativities, and it's a different look at Jesus' birth and the travels and the circumstances surrounding that. So these are just some examples that I happen to have on a shelf at home. Most of the books are formatted not just for print, but also ebooks. And that's the way I go, because I've done hundreds of manuscripts over the years. We're approaching 40 years and more for me being in the world of words. And I literally cannot devote an entire room to these books, but I certainly can put them on my computer and enjoy them that way. And that's what I do. So,
what else have you got over there?
These are the Chicken Soup for the Soul books.
Oh, okay.
And I brought these. I've done 4. It's very competitive. They put calls for submissions on their website. And I encourage people who want to practice writing to go ahead, see what the submission guideline is, what is the topic, and send it in. And this is how people can get started writing, actually have a byline, and something to brag about. So very competitive. There's thousands of people who send in submissions. So I have done this just as I'm so busy writing for other people that I very seldom have time to write for myself. So this is my way of having fun and taking a break and doing something just for me. So these are just examples of what you can do just for
Mom
fun.
knows best. I like that.
Yeah, this one I wrote for my mother. I wrote this one based on my friendship group in April Sound. And this one, these two are, I'm an animal lover and an animal rescuer, and these two made it, and they are about my cats.
Aw.
2 different cat stories.
So those are all submissions from you in those books?
These are all submissions
Wow.
from me. Yeah, I submitted and I made it, and very, very tough competition. So that's kind of, but that's a
very
fun thing for me.
gratifying.
Yeah, that's fun for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's so exciting. So the best way to reach you would be through your website.
Yes, you can reach me at melaniesaxton.com or melaniesaxtonmedia.com. Both point to my website.
SAXTON.
Uh-huh.
Wow. So exciting. So what kind of things are you working on right now?
I am working, your next guest, Dr. Jason Allen. He is my most recent client. I mean, we've just got it started with his book editing, and he's really impressive. And this is, I would say, a kind of a masculine take on overcoming, and really put your thinking hat on here. Let's really think strategically about business and life, and how we want to raise our kids. And it's a very broad approach.
So it's just not about his business.
No, not at all. This is more about a life approach that's worked for him. And so when you invited me on, I immediately thought he should come, because he's a property owner in April Sound as well, and he has his chiropractic practice in College Station. So he has quite a remarkable tale. And I wanted to make sure that,
Well, good.
He
Having
could
the both
come.
of you on, we can
it's kind
hear
of-
about the process and how it works in action.
Exactly,
So-
exactly. And the process is, you say someone writes a book, and they need it edited. They need an edit because maybe they are not familiar with all the conventions of English and subject-verb agreement and tense and also, hyphenation, and what about flow and transitions?
Changing the narrative so you don't lose the scope of what you're talking about, but it makes better sense and readability, too.
It's readability, yes.
Yes.
And it's just to have a very well laid out book, because I also help with that. Let's look at flow and pacing. And what are the transitions between chapters? What are the transitions between paragraphs? I mean, let's look at all of the details and make this the best read that it can be. So that's part of the editing. And there's different types of editing. Some people just want to proofread. That's all. They want to hire me to proofread their book, and that is grammar, punctuation. And some want to copy edit, which is that. It's a proofread plus more, because they are going to ask me to be looking at the overall flow, and then some people need a developmental edit where they have written a book and they just really need me to kind of soup to nuts take a look. Say it's a novel, they want to know if there's plot gaps. Well, I'll find those for them. If there's something that kind of a cliffhanger with a character and all of a sudden we just don't know what happened, well, we can pick that up and finish it. And then there's also substantive editing, which is I am going to have to tear the book apart and put it back together. So it just needs a total rewrite. I mean, I can use the content in there, but it just has to be put together differently. Then the last thing would be research editing, which means I do take a look at the public records, and I do take a look at genealogy, and
Well, especially if
Whatever's
it's
needed.
a nonfiction book and you want to get the details
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So
And
it is
I'll-
a lot of work. I've actually done it twice. Somebody asked me, and then they actually didn't want to pay me when I did the whole rewrite. And
Oh.
another was my brother-in-law that I just helped him write his story. And
Why am I
So-
not surprised? Because you do everything.
no,
You
I
act-
don't. This wasn't about me. But, I know how time-consuming that can be, especially if you're having to look at it and go, this doesn't work. We need to rewrite this. And then work with the person and make sure that they're up to the level, the
Yeah.
standard you would like it to be.
Yeah, and the
You know?
process is to work in a Word document.
Yeah.
And
So you
put
can
the
make
tracker,
any edits. Yeah.
Put the tracker on, so everything's color coded. Everything I touch is there, and authors can accept or reject my edits. Generally, it's just they're like, please handle it, just handle all of that for me. But then weekly, I'll send in an updated manuscript, look for their feedback, and then we just build that way. Just build the book, go through the whole process, and at the very end, I do a proofread. I go through about 3 times with copy editing or whatever, and then I do a final proofread because I want it to, be absolutely ready to send to a literary agent or to self-publish, like right at that moment. And indie authors, they don't want to go through the traditional publishing route because it's hard to find a literary agent. Those agents are not paid by the author. Those agents are paid by the publishing house. They have to sell that book, and then they get their 10-15% commission from that sale. And it's not from the sale, it's from the advance on sales. If a big publisher picks you up, you get an advance on sales, and your agent is paid from that. So the agent is kind of working for free until they can land that book with a publisher. That's why they're picky. That's why there's so many rejection letters. Because they have to really believe in the book in order to push it. That's traditional publishing. But a lot of authors, the indie authors, say, I am not putting myself through that. I don't want to wait 6 months to get a literary agent, and I don't want to wait another 6 months for them to land me with a publisher, if they even do. And I'm going to take this into my own hands because I understand social media, I have a marketing plan and a marketing budget, and I'm going to do this.
And you can do that on Amazon,
Well,
right? If you wanted to self-publish and just
well,
go
yeah,
without,
what you
but then
do is-
it's not at the same level.
Well, you hire somebody to format your book. It's very tricky. Formatting a book, which is an 8.5 by 11 document, and it ends up a 6 by 9 trim. And Amazon has so many little nuances, little hoops that you have to jump through as far as formatting. I don't want to do it. But one of my colleagues, somebody I've worked with since 2009, and my very best friend, Holly Chervinsik, she does that for me. I point indie authors to her. She formats the book.
So you have partnerships.
Yeah, and she does the book cover design, the spine, the back cover, the full wrap. She has the ISBNs that authors need, and she formats it so that she can just upload it to Amazon, no problems, no kickbacks. That's the problem, is Amazon will kick that back if you don't upload it the right way, if it's not formatted correctly. So people will hire a book formatter and generally a graphic designer to do that for them, an indie author. That's something a traditional publisher would do and we never even know about, but as an indie author, you see the entire process. And you're not selling a book to a publisher. You retain all the rights to your book. A traditional publisher might take something out, rewrite something, rearrange something, which bothers...
Do they involve the author at all, or just do their own thing?
No, it's their own thing.
Okay.
They pick the cover and everything else. So the prestige of having a publisher behind you, you balance that against a loss of rights. And so, it matters to some, not to others, but indie authors have complete control.
So do you work with both or just the publishing companies?
No, I work with all authors, and however they choose to publish
Right,
is fine.
but you explain that to them, the
Yeah,
process of how it
pick-
all works.
they'll pick
'cause
my mind and
if they're
say-
new, they don't know.
Yeah, and it's not like you go through a publishing class in college or something. No,
Right.
this is what you pick up by working in the industry and having authors come back and tell you, oh, I went through this or I went through that. And every once in a while, a literary agent will CC me in, they'll copy me in on correspondence with publishing houses, which honestly, book editors generally would not be a part of. So I've been a little fly on the wall just watching all of this. It's like, oh, and understanding more about how the process works and understanding that I'm actually copied in with the most prestigious publishing houses, the big five. And I just don't make a peep.
Well,
I just learn. I
that's
just
what
soak it
you
up.
do.
It's part of the lessons, and
Wow.
then I can share that information with my clients.
Well, I'd like to bring in our other guests, so we're going to take a quick break and we can continue this conversation of how this all works. But again, that you can, anybody who's listening, go to Melanie, Melanie, Saxton, Saxton, media.com or just melaniesaxton.com and find you. And you have all your social media sites as well with that
Right.
same,
Yeah, people can just find me, Melanie
same names.
Saxton.
Yeah.
But the website is very comprehensive. It's
It is.
huge,
I've seen it. Yes, it is.
huge.
It's very good. So let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and listen to Dr. Jason Allen.
Since 2004, Roger Stein Chiropractic has offered spine and joint manipulation services to residents of Montgomery County and surrounding areas. Conditions treated include lower back pain, migraines, headaches, whiplash, carpal tunnel, neck pain, sciatica, joint pain, sports injuries, herniated discs, and complications from pregnancy. Roger Stein Chiropractic, led by Dr. Stacy Rogers and Dr. Brian McGee, is an integrity-verified chiropractic clinic. Call 936-441-9990 for an appointment or visit rogerssteinchiropractic.com. That's RODGERSSTEIN chiropractic.com.
Team Sinisi is a proud sponsor of Conroe Culture News. Vinny Sinisi and his professional team provide comprehensive real estate services throughout the greater Montgomery County area and beyond. Whether looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, Team Sinisi has an impeccable reputation. Contact Team Sinisi for a great experience at teamsinisi.com. That's TEAMSINISI.com.
And now I am sitting right across from Dr. Jason Allen. He's a chiropractor, and you have other people in your business as well that on your team. And we'll talk a little bit about that in your relationship with Miss Melanie Saxton and what she's done. So tell me a little bit about yourself. You're a father, you're a businessman, you're a husband, all those, right?
So I am originally from.
Here, push that more towards you.
Yeah.
There you go. There
All
you
right.
go. Okay.
I'm originally from Bryan, Texas. Graduated from Bryan in 2000. I am married. I've been married for almost 4 years now. We have 8 children.
That's a lot. How old is the oldest?
19. So it's blended. We have
Yeah.
our oldest is 19. Our youngest is 18 months.
Ooh.
It's a big stretch.
Okay.
I'm a chiropractor. I own Proactive Chiropractic in College Station. I'm a businessman. I've been writing a book on business and entrepreneurship it's been going on probably 6 years now.
How long have you and Melanie been working together?
I
All
met
that time?
her.
It's probably just a month. I mean,
Yeah,
this is
about a month or
this
so.
is brand
Yeah,
new.
It's brand new.
a very new
Okay.
project.
the further I got into business, the less time that I had to really work on the book.
Imagine.
And I got down to the very end of it, and I'm like, oh, I just have to piece the rest of this together. And so I came across Melanie, and
Okay.
she's helping me finish this up.
So tell me about your practice.
Our practice, we will be open 7 years on September 6th. We have a mixed practice, cash, insurance. We do a lot of personal injury work. I was a personal trainer for 10 years before I got into practice. And so I really try to implement that into my practice. We have a gym in the office, and I love helping
Interesting.
people out.
So do your clients use the gym? You help them with things?
We use it more for functional movement training, where I can do scans and see how people are moving. But we do
that's
exercise
interesting.
in the office.
How did bodybuilding and being a personal trainer help you be a better chiropractor?
I would say that my eye for detail in people's movement, it came more from the personal training aspect than it did from like chiropractic school and
That
stuff.
makes a
Just
lot of sense.
those hours in the gym
so
really
what,
paid off.
what you watch and how they use their body to implement different moves or lifting or whatever they're doing, you can see where issues may arise.
Correct.
Improper use possibly or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, also, you being so strong, you probably need that strength to move people around.
It definitely helps.
Melanie, could you make sure you're talking to the mic?
Oh, yes.
We want to hear your conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, that does definitely help. Having the strength, but chiropractic is more about speed, just being able to find that end range and then just a quick adjustment.
So you've been involved and have a passion with how you use your body and all of that. So that really made sense to go into chiropractic care. Where did you go to school?
I went to Cleveland University in Kansas City. I know it's
Not local.
not local. I got a wrestling scholarship in Missouri right out of high school, so I traveled up there. I was in Missouri, Kansas City area for about 15 years, and then came back and opened my practice.
Okay. And it's called Proactive Chiropractic. Well, you have BCS. Bryan College Station, I assume, was the BCS.
Correct.
Is that correct? I figured that out myself. So, yeah, so you have the website, you have your Facebook page, and so you've been trotting along, doing your business, and then you decided to write a book?
I did. The first chapter kind of came to me 6 or 7 years ago, and then I kind of started making some notes and putting pen to paper, and then it's just evolved from there.
Why a book?
I've always loved writing. I actually started off doubling with English as my second major in undergrad.
I can see you're excited. Your eyes are just like,
I love writing. I did.
it
Started
shows.
off with poetry.
you're good
and,
mixed with Melanie here who loves
Yep.
writing.
Yep. I've always loved writing, and so it was a natural fit. And
So you just
something that
wanted
I've
to
always
write
wanted to do.
down just how you got your business started, or what got you writing about?
It's more, it's not necessarily just about business. It's motivational. It's things that we tend to overlook, just small little details about decision making and not being impulsive, stuff like that that can help
Mindset.
out. Just
Mindset.
a
A
very
mindset?
growth mindset book.
So do you have a strategy every day, every week that you try to follow,
I try to stay in that good routine and make sure that we're
mentally and physically?
Yep.
Prepare yourself?
The mental thing's the tough. Just staying in that good mindset all the time. That's the tough part.
Positive?
Yep.
Okay. Makes things happen. I mean, it's easier with a plan than not a plan, right?
Yep.
I mean, we have to start with a plan and things jump in the way.
Well,
All the time.
self-control and discipline.
Very much.
Huge. That's the mindset part.
And like she said, a lot of times that you deviate from that plan that you've set. It's all about adapting and getting back on course.
There's always challenges
Yep.
every day. So you were starting to write the book, and then what happened?
Got busy.
You got busy
Yep.
with your
Work.
business, family, all of that, but you still needed to finish the book.
Right. And I was making my notes and I was trying to set time aside to write, but I don't want to just write down anything. You want good quality content, so just finding that time where I could have a blank mind and go in without any distractions, and it was just hard to find.
It's hard to find that focused time.
Yep.
So you just start Googling for writers? I mean, how did this come to be?
I just Googled editors in the
Yeah?
area, and it was funny. I came across a few, including Melanie, and then we went over the contract and everything, and we discovered that we have a house in the same subdivision. And I was like, that's like meant to be.
Yeah, how
yeah,
weird.
yeah. And one thing I noticed, which Jason was very honest about, he goes, it's hard to trust someone with your book. I mean, he wanted to know about my credentials and how the process worked, which is really smart, because it is like entrusting your baby with someone else, and it's hard.
Yeah, and I interviewed a few other editors, and I just had that gut feeling like, let's not go this way. And then I ended up
You
with
have
her.
to have a good sync with
Yeah.
the
A
person.
trust.
Well, and
yeah.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, yes, it's all about trust because you're sharing a very intimate part of your life. If you're
Right.
writing something down, you're sharing your feelings
And,
your
yeah.
thoughts
That's true.
and your
actually,
business and all of that. And can you, first of all, trust them to do right by you and to not go off the wall and do something different? And just how do you know that they're the right person? How do you know they're not going to take the money and run? As Steve Miller would say.
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, these are real concerns. And, sometimes I am really embarrassed about my profession because there are very predatory people out there in literary. And there's a lot of naive first-time authors who don't know what questions to ask. But when you have been in the world of words for, 40 years, I couldn't be where I am today without, doing my best for my clients and trying my utmost on their behalf, and also sharing lessons that other authors have shared with me, like what are the pitfalls and what do you watch for, and how do you get in? How could you get in trouble? How could your manuscript get in trouble?
Did you share that with Jason, some of these
Yeah,
things?
well, Jason knew to ask me.
Oh, really?
Some of these questions.
So you knew what?
It's
how
like,
to
let's
handle
do it.
this.
Let's do a plagiarism check. Let's do this and that. Let's make sure everything's above board, because he's inspired by some of the greats and quotes some of the greats. And frankly, it's easier for me to do a plagiarism check and come up with a citation if needed, just so that he's crediting this person properly. Things like that. That
It is important.
he knew to ask for. Yeah.
Wow. So you've only been working together a short time, and you already feel that connection.
Yeah. Well, there's good chemistry, and it's a good manuscript. It's really solid, and I have a great foundation to work from. So good on you. He knew what he was doing.
Well, is it a difficult process to start writing a book and then work with somebody else? And have you worked with somebody else before?
I mean, not outside, just some personal friends that have kind of looked over it.
Not
and given
professionally.
Correct. So just basic input from them. But as far as working with a professional, this is my first time doing it, and
Does it alleviate stress?
it does.
Okay, but keeps you on track.
It does.
Keeps your
Because
focus so you can
for
get
a
it
while, I
done.
was like, am I ever going to get this done? And you start doubting yourself, but then, you put it in the hands of somebody that knows what they're doing, and it just makes it
See,
a
then
lot
you
easier.
breathe.
Right.
And you go on with life. And then do you have check-ins periodically, weekly, or whatever?
Yeah, I should be checking in with Dr. Allen here weekly, and I was running a little bit late because there were a couple things I saw in there that I had suggestions and recommendations for. So he literally just got an update this weekend. And then this week he's going to read through and he'll give me his feedback, and then we'll keep going. So I think we had, a 2-month deadline? Is it 2 or 3? Yeah, 2-month deadline for this project. So probably about nearing halfway there. And it's just a matter of maybe a little developmental editing, and there's maybe some flow that we'll work on. And again, everything I do is a recommendation, and it's up to the author to say accept or reject, because it's their book and it's their manuscript. Very collaborative and a very respectful process. What's so funny is that I'm under a non-disclosure agreement, and so it's like, and here I am talking about the book. It's such a foreign thing to me to be under an NDA.
But he said it was okay.
He
right?
said it, and the only reason I can do that is because I have his permission to do that.
Well, I just want to hear about the process,
Yeah.
and I'm sure other people just want to see how this works. So, Jason, Dr. Jason Allen, what is your process? What are you going to do when you're finished? Are you going to self-publish or try to send
That's
it to a
still
bigger
something that's
publisher?
up in the
You're
air.
still playing with
Yeah.
that. So, Melanie spoke to you about the ins and outs of how that works.
Well, and probably not as in depth as we will, but when it gets to that point where the book is ready, my recommendation is go ahead and submit it to literary agents. And the thing is, a lot of them tweet calls for submissions. Now that Twitter is X, I don't know what they're going to call a tweet, but anyway, they put calls for submissions out on Twitter and other platforms. You can follow literary agents on Twitter and just kind of keep up with them. And also just researching online. It's like literary agents in the self-help or motivational genres, and see who's open for submissions. And every single one of them is different. Every single one of them has different submission guidelines. They're trying to trip you up. They want to see if you can follow directions, because they are looking for reasons to just trash your submission. Or reject it, because they get inundated. There's millions of people writing books.
So it's a
So
very
they want
disheartening way to go.
Well,
Sounds
it's not.
like. I mean, it
it's
could
not,
be rewarding, but it's
just
quite challenging.
Be smart about it. Don't use a cookie cutter query letter with every single agent. Go in and look at their sites. Have some respect. What have they published before? What have been their successes before? And are they even open for? Have they shut down for a season? When you do a custom query letter, you have vast greater chances of getting some attention. So understand the agent that you're querying to, and you might query 50 agents. It's a lot of work. You have to custom query each one, but it's worth it. It's respectful, and they know it. You've taken the time to understand what they're looking for. And some of them want the first 3 chapters, and some of them want the entire manuscript. Some of them want a short synopsis. Some of them want a long synopsis. And I help with that. I can help authors with that if you want to go the traditional publishing route. And also, I will say that some literary agents try to sign you up for 2 years. And I say, negotiate 1 year. If they can't sell your book in a year, you need to be able to cut loose and keep going.
Yeah.
So things
you're
like that.
Looking forward to those conversations more in depth when you get to that point.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
That's
Wow.
that's the part that I'm a little bit more concerned about, is making sure we get the book out there and make sure we market it properly so
Well,
it
of
does
course.
sell.
I mean, what's it all worth if
Right.
you're the only one reading it, right?
Yep.
Well, and that's what I tell people. It's like, how can someone buy your book if they don't know it exists? And that's why the free social media is really important, getting that set up. Although it's hard. It's hard to get likes and followers. Again, it's maybe a little easier in the self-help genre, because people are actively looking for that, but maybe not so much for a novel that they may not be looking for,
Well, catchy name helps too.
A catchy name helps, and his name,
Get their attention.
which he will probably not say, but he has a great title. He has a great book title.
Good.
And we're working on a subtitle. So
It matters. I mean, being in the PR world, what do you put on the title of the press release? Mm-hmm. And I do personalize every one.
yes,
I don't
you're
blind
good at
CC
that. No.
everybody all at once.
Yeah,
A lot of people do. Sometimes I do when I don't care. quite honestly. But most of the time,
No,
I do
your
not.
stuff is top notch. You put a
But
lot of
I
care
bet it's the
into it.
same kind of thing. People need to feel valued before they pay attention to what you've got. So as much as you can personalize it, the better. Good advice, Melanie. So any special words of wisdom you want to give to people that are an aspiring writer for a book?
Just make sure you put all your thoughts down, and anything that inspires you, put it on paper. And
So did you journal first, all of the different things?
I definitely made notes. I had a completely separate notes document that I would jot everything down. Anytime that something came to me, I would stop what I was doing and I would write it down. I'd be on the treadmill or mowing the yard or whatever, and if something came to mind, I would stop, put it in my phone, make sure I'd remember it, and then come back to it later.
Are you a note taker all the time?
All the time.
I do too.
Yep.
I have pads of paper in my car, in my kitchen, in my bedroom, at my office.
Yeah.
When I go out walking or doing something physical, I think of things when I'm on my own in notes.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah,
or
and-
text
'Cause those-
myself. Texting myself.
Text-
first.
Texting
But
yourself or-
those things come to you in the most random times, and you have to be
Yeah.
able to get that down.
Yeah, I tell authors, you through this process, you will probably wake up in the middle of the night thinking of something, and if your
Yeah,
phone
that's
is right
true.
there, audio file.
Oh, that's
Just
a great idea.
Record yourself.
Dreams.
And
Sometimes
dreams.
dreams.
Dreams,
Dreams are very
uh-huh.
messaging.
So, and I do have authors send me audio files and say, "Will you transcribe this?" So
Oh, that's fun.
And and I've had authors send me boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff going back 60 years to look through to put their books together.
Oh my.
Literally delivered to my porch. Yeah. So there's no wrong way to write a book. And I know yours was a long journey of many, many years. And also, he went back to school. You know, he's an older student and a father and a husband going back to school and accomplishing all of that while running his business. It's, being a personal trainer.
I had my own
You're-
personal
you're
training
self-motivated.
I
Yeah.
don't know how he did it all because, the kids came fast and furious and then blended family and yeah, it's a lot. So anyway, I felt good about the manuscript right away. Felt like really it had a very, very strong foundation and that it was helpful, which is your entire approach to life is helping others. It's like helping them be pain-free or, getting in shape or not repeating mistakes, like on a personal level. And this book covers it all.
That's exciting. It's very exciting. I've thought about doing that.
You should.
I will, in time. In the right time.
Yes.
But
And it is always a matter of timing. And I have a philosophy and a belief that books get published when they're meant to be published. There's this great universal type of thing going on, I think, with a lot of these books, especially if the books are really destined to help people.
I'm excited to hear more about it. I'm sure I will.
I'll make sure you
when
get
you're
one.
when you're done. So, well, this is a totally different show we're doing today. I haven't done anything on this, and I've been doing this for 7 years. So I'm exciting. It's very exciting to hear about how to write a book, and then bringing you in to talk about you're the writer and how it all works together. So thank you both for coming on today, and again to find out about your chiropractic business at Proactive Chiropractic. TX.com, right? And then that you can also Google it, Proactive Chiropractic BCS on Facebook. And I'm sure then if you go to any of those, you'll find out all your other links.
Correct.
So Dr. Jason Allen and his book will be published sometime soon.
Well,
Maybe
it
this year,
depends.
next year. It all depends on how it goes.
It depends on his
Right.
his publishing route.
Right. And then Melanie Saxton, talk to her, MelanieSaxtonMedia.com or just MelanieSaxton.com, and find out how to get your book going or editing or copywriting or any of that. Special thanks to our sponsors today, Roger Stein Chiropractic and the Lake Conroe Realty Group. We appreciate you all coming on. And until next time, we'll talk later.